the world class novels, like for example, 100 Years of Solitude, Animal Farm, uh, The Old Man and the Sea. These novels did not go beyond the 120 pages, but the authors won Nobel Prize for this kind of artistic work, and all of that is attributed solely to their artistic touch that they have. So it doesn't matter. Um, they are coming from different eras, and they have different set of vocabulary. They have different set of mentality to present that. So the narrative that they presented had its own merits and advantages and features. However, when we talk about the academic essay, there are certain landmarks. So on this table, for example, if we're trying to give a kind of linear or consistent framework, we can look at the beginning. So the text organization and essay structure should have or must have a clear thesis statement aligned to the body of the essay. Do you see that? Don't worry about the points because they are not important right now. I'm just going through the list of necessities here. So for the body of the essay, that's 95% of the required essays in IELTS and TOEFL, usually for academic purposes. We need to understand that tests like IELTS and TOEFL assess whether the writer has the features of an academic researcher and writer or not. They're they're not testing how much masterful or not masterful you are of writer. They are not judging if you are a good author or not. They just want these articles that are given to you are for sake of probing, just nibble probing the skills, the inner skills, and the inner talent of people. When we go to the body of the essay, it must be well structured, and it should each one of the points of the essay, each one of the sentences of the essay, each one of the paragraphs of the essay is linked to the next. And the best way I can advise you to follow is never leave the always have the last sentence of the first paragraph indicate something that the reader is going to be excited to read about in the next paragraph, um, like a train. So every train is linked by a chain to the next, or a knob that connects it to the next compartment. As an example, when we talk about a thesis statement and we say, for example, the COVID-19 has caused financial disturbances in the world market, and this has led to catastrophic consequences that will shed some dark side on the world for the upcoming centuries. Some of the dark consequences will be discussed below. Now we are very excited to see what kind of consequences. Now, when I talk about when I move to the second paragraph, I will start with what I ended with. I will talk about the last point that I mentioned in the previous paragraph. That's just an example of the top of my head. Language must have style of voice suitable for purpose and audience. So we should reduce, for style, when we talk about style, we're talking about the word choice. We're talking about whether the person is talking on behalf of himself, on behalf of a group of people, or he is just reporting observation or facts. Um, for of course for the purpose and audience, and for conclusion, it must include clear summary of key points from the body of the essay linked to the topic sense. Um, we always say that conclusion is just a rephrased summary of the thesis statement and the introduction. Um, for the content, let's move here to the content. It says, answer the questions. Ideas must be well presented and consistently related to the essay question. Critical thinking, this is important, shows high level of critical analysis and includes different points of view. Different points of view, it means the points and the counterpoints. We create kind of balance here. We should not only focus on our points of view, but we should bring about some opposite points of views for sake of balance. And for research, ideas supported by credible and relevant sources. You are not required to recall any specific any specific data or any specific dates for that purpose, but probably presenting something in a very logical way is going to help instead. For grammar, it's very clear. It should be structured, clear, consistent, and error-free. Formatting as requested, we don't need that for formatting. That's the point that I wanted to mention here. But remember something, like when we write an article in IELTS, we use a pencil and a piece of paper. So probably the font should be clear, not like the first style that you gave me, because maybe some non-native speakers would have a problem reading cursive handwriting. That's all that I wanted to mention here. It cannot be read, or it must have some difficulty reading it. Now, talking about medical writers, I have a question here, but I will ask you the question, and let's just I'm just checking how we can incorporate that into your writing. I understand that writing speed is different from speaking speed. When you speak, you tend to be faster, and you need to recollect some thoughts and ideas. So probably the organization is not going to be as consistent as writing, because writing is a passive, 40 minutes long um, process. I will give you a prompt. A prompt يعني إيعاز بالكتابة أو فد نموذج على أساس إنه أنت you're going to respond back to me. Now, it's just a demo. It's just a practice, but of course we're going to go through so many samples of these. But I want you to apply what I just mentioned here in short on this demonstration. So here we have this example, and you brought it to yourself, by the way, because you mentioned the medical handwriting. Medical researchers and cosmetic companies and others often perform experiments on animals. Many people feel that experimentation on animals is wrong and should be stopped immediately because animals do feel pain, and there are other alternatives. How do you feel? I want you to state your opinion and position and explain your 3 reasons for that. Now, in the prompt, it doesn't say 3 reasons, But usually when I write, I follow the 3 reasons style. Even if I don't have on top of my head 3 reasons, but I don't want my mind to wander loosely in the corners of back of my memory, delving deep, finding any kind of reasons. I give my mind the chance to think in 3 tracks. So while I'm talking about the first track, my subconscious mind is going to develop a narrative story for the second track and third track, or second reason and third reason. I'll ask you the question again. Medical researchers and cosmetic companies and others often perform experiments on animals. Are we clear? Many people feel that experimentation on animals is wrong and should be stopped immediately because animals do feel pain and there are other alternatives. How do you feel? State your position and explain your reasons. You have 5 minutes, 1 minute to prepare your conversation, and 4 minutes to start talking. Do not stop talking until I tell you to stop. 3, 2, 1, go. Do you hear me? You have 1 minute. I was just checking if the connectivity to the internet is okay. You have 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yes. Number one, um, it is um, the medical or pharmaceutical experiment, especially for the new molecules. Um, According to my experience, it doing according to the global references, and these references contain the experiment of the global scientists that who did these experiments many years ago. So in the current time, we have to follow their steps in our lab or in our experiment, and we cannot start uh, our own experiment without following them. And they did their experiment on the animals because of the similarities sometimes between the animals and the human. For example, in the body temperature, I think I remember that in the quality control center in Baghdad, I was working on the pyrogene test. Pyrogene test, we were doing this test on the rabbits. Why? Because rabbit body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade, which is similar to the degree centigrade of the body temperature of the human being. And why we cannot do it on the human? Because the life of the human being is more important and more expensive than the lives of the rabbits. And according to that, we, I mean by we, the pharmaceutical companies or the cosmetic companies doing the experiment on the animals, because also the animals can be compensated, but the human being is cannot be compensated. He has a family, he has a children, he has a future. We cannot make it even. You can find volunteers from the human beings, but for the last stage of the experiment, in which the new molecule of the medicine now be secure, and the results of using on the human beings is very secure and very ensure. Um, but in the first stage of discoveries of a new molecule in the medicine, we cannot make the human being just like the mouse of the lab. And for that reasons, I think the pharmaceutical companies or medical companies doing their experiment on the animals. More addition, sorry, in addition, just like I said, the references has been built on many years of search, and that search stated that the animals is more handled than the human being inside the lab. um, um, and we can handle the animal just like we see the experiment need from the circumstances or something like that. Not like the human beings who has to provide to him special circumstances to do the experiment on him. That's my point of view in this field.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
No, that's a very good start, and I think
Mhm.
that was an acceptable way of creating some sort of a framework on which
Thank you.
you can start building the draft of our next essay.
Okay.
Now, what I want you to do is just click on this link. I want you to. Are you using your laptop or your phone?
Yes, yes. I'm using my laptop.
I sent you a link on Skype. Can you just click on it?
Yes, I clicked on it.
Okay. What do you see?
But just 1 minute. When you access, request access, it is a Google document, but he asked me to, um, as a request.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
He said to me that he sent to me an email.
No, no, no. Just wait a second.
Okay.
Now click
Mm,
click on the link again. The next one that I sent you here.
okay. It is Osama Academic Writing Essay Practice.
Yes. Do you see the content of the essay?
Yes.
No.
medical research, cosmetic companies, and etc. Okay.
Do you see Hayasama here?
Yes, I see the topic, Mr. Walid.
And do you see the next paragraph? It says we have to follow their steps an hour, an hour, and
Yes,
up. Now,
yes, I see it.
now this is your speech, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So there are some mistakes there, but this is
Mm-hmm.
part of what you talked during the few minutes ago.
Okay.
This is just an introduction to the paragraph. What I want you to do,
Mm-hmm.
you see me typing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we say, for example, in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, we need to state the significance of
Mm-hmm.
animal rights in the field, in the medical field of experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all animals have been proven medically to have a nerve system that carries pain and happiness and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
I want you to highlight. I want you to write just one sentence here. Just one sentence. Add to this. Next, under blah blah blah. Just a thesis
Mm-hmm.
to state whether you agree or disagree. Because I want to give
Mm-hmm.
you some feedback so you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. In the beginning, we need to state the significance of animal rights in the medical field of experimentation. All animals have been proven medically to have nerve system that carries pain and happiness. Um, shall I continue
Continue.
after happiness? After happiness.
Okay, I'll delete this. Continue after happiness.
Okay. Um,
No, 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 no. That's
okay.
but. Okay. You should not start the beginning. Let's not add buts here. Buts
No,
for
I
later.
want to complete after happiness. It is not a new sentence.
Okay, so all animals have been proven medically to have nerve system that carries pain and happiness.
Mm,
You, I guess you're with or against medical experimentation.
mm.
Are you with or against?
No, I'm with.
Okay, so you're with testing on animals, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case particularly, try to add some argument in the
Mm-hmm,
beginning,
mm-hmm,
because it's going to be an argumentative essay.
mm-hmm,
So I need you to add an argument here that
mm-hmm,
kind of state, well, just type but, because the point is not about the statement right now. I'm walking you through some technological stuff here, just to get you used to it.
okay.
Just finish, write one line here
Okay. Shall I start with but? Because I want to say even the
if
animals
you
have nerve
insist.
system that sorry.
If you insist, yes.
I'm not insisting, Mr. Walid,
Just
but
go on.
I want to learn from you.
Okay. No, no.
Okay.
Go ahead and write it.
Okay. Um, There's my sentence.
Okay, that may contain, not contains.
Mhm.
Uh,
By the way, this is the same question that I think 2008 or 2007, one of the foreign channels um, has asked me in the quality control center when I was working over there.
mhm,
And I answered the same answer. I said to them that we are following it was American channel, and I said to them that we are following the USP, the United States Pharmacopoeia. So if you want to ask someone why we are using the animals in the medical experiment, you have to ask the US Pharmacopoeia, not the Quality Control Center in Baghdad. They were
mhm.
loving, and also they told me that there are rights for the animal, and maybe someone will accuse us in front of the global court. I said that the lives of the lives matter of the human beings is more important than the lives matter of the animals, and we are doing something for the benefit of the humanity. And I think it was a suitable answer for them because they were very happy by my reply.
Okay,
Mhm. Now I'm using but in the wrong place. So
let's.
what I have to do.
It's not
Sorry.
about but. It's just a
Okay.
technical. It's a technical point of view here that I want you to understand. We're building on the last draft, so you have two tasks right now. Um, and you need to speed up writing the previous task and finish it because I want to give you a final grade on that one, and then we transition to this point here, and
Mhm.
give you
Okay.
a question. And while I give you a question, you start typing. In 40 minutes, I watch you. I give you feedback simultaneously. In this
Mhm.
process, there's going to be direct contact with the feedback, and I would guess that the assessment and the perception of my feedback is going to be highly more influential here. Now, when
Mhm.
you say it is not acceptable to do the medical experiments, instead of saying to do, because everybody can say do, think
Mhm.
about it from a formal point of view. Uh, I would re- replace it with run or
Mhm.
conduct.
Mhm.
Do you see my
Well,
side notes here?
yes, I see it. Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Okay. So it is not acceptable to do the medical experiments. I would say what kind of medical experiments there on the human beings, um, because with all these side effects that you didn't mention.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we're talking about if you instead of like with all the side effects, we can say with some potential side effects, such as blah blah blah, three blah blah blahs, and then in the next paragraph you build and elaborate on the three side effects and whether they are potentially relevant to the statement to the first paragraph or not.
But it will be general side effects because the side effects different from one kind of medicine to another.
Okay, perfect. So just mention what you just already said there. Um,
Hmm.
Imagine you are doing an argument with me. So just mention that, but
Okay.
with a touch of details. Don't just like
Hmm.
leave it loose. Not
Hmm.
specifically highlighting what kind of side effects we're talking about here.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm just keen to see that you know what you talk about, not throwing words out there without getting the reader a sense of depth.
Okay. Okay.
Um, you have what you talked about. That I just recorded what you mentioned
Yes.
here, but
Mhm.
the recording was just disorganized, like the kind of long
Yes.
paragraphs you see here. You can
I see.
rephrase. You can rephrase and take some of the thoughts from here and build
Mhm.
on that. But
Mhm.
this
Okay.
this is when you finish the previous task.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So
It's clear.
once you finish the previous task, I want
Mhm.
you to copy that
Mhm.
and put it here.
Mhm.
Go down. Oh no, wait a second here. This is task 2.
Mhm.
Do you see me type in task 2?
Yes. Yes, I see you.
Task 1. Okay. I want you to type the statement and the answer to task 1 here,
Mhm.
and then we will discuss it in our next meeting simultaneously.
Inshallah. Yes.
Now, what did you learn from tonight?
Well,
Even if you did
uh,
not, you don't have to say I learned anything, by the way. I'm just trying to draw a conclusion, so once our
mhm.
conversation is over, you would say, well, I learned something.
No, it is duel is starting, and then it's for remembering.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Um, I learned uh, how to write not an academic only, not only the academic essay, but sometimes something related with my field, with my specialty, a medical essay,
Hmm.
and I have to be significant for each single word I mention in my essay.
You
For
should be ready to defend every single word
yes,
you write.
yes.
You are
I have, yes, I have to be ready to
listen,
defend about each single word, and I have to
listen to
be
this.
ready to explain.
You are held accountable.
Hmm.
Held accountable means uh يعني يعني تعطى أنت مسؤول. You are held
Hmm.
accountable for every word you write there. So every
Hmm.
word you write there, I will ask you about it, whether it
Hmm.
fits within the structure of the sentence and whether it fits with the general framework of the essay.
Yes, yes.
We're done.
From okay, okay.
You mentioned something related to we're you just mentioned
Yes, I
something.
remembered when you learned me that the examiner or the reader cannot see me, and I have to consider it sometimes uneducated by the essay or the topic that I'm talking about. So I have to explain everything.
Hmm.
And for example, this side effects, I have to explain what the meaning of the side effects.
Hmm. Oh,
Hmm.
perfect. And I
Hmm.
like how you started to notice this kind of
Hmm.
pattern because this is recurring. Now we get to a point of
Yes.
recurrences, and then
Hmm.
from that point, you'll start seeing patterns like this is an academic writing pattern, this is an email
Yes.
pattern,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
can build from that. Thank you,
Mhm.
Osama, for this
Thank you
lovely
for your Mr. Walid. Thank you. Thank you.
conversation, and I will look forward to copy and paste your task here.
Of course. Of course I will, inshallah. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night. Thank
Bye.
you. Good night. Bye bye.